Hi, it's Chris here from Adventure Breaks, and these are our 6 top tips for hiking Mount Kilimanjaro. Tip number 1 is to make sure that you book a longer route, such as the Lemosha route. The reason you want to do that is when you're on the mountain, it gives your body more time to acclimatise and therefore increases your chances of getting to the top successfully. On a 5-day trek, you have statistically a 50% chance of making it to the summit. On a 6-day trek, that's more like 60%, 7 days, 70%, and by the time you're doing an 8-day trek, you have approximately an 80% chance of making it to the summit. Tip number 2 is to go and speak to your GP or doctor and tell them what you're doing. They can prescribe a drug for you called Diamox, and that helps your body to acclimatise, again increasing your chances of making it to the summit. Tip number 3 is to be prepared for a bit more downtime than you might have been expecting, particularly if you are doing a longer route. That means in the afternoons or evenings, sometimes you might just be sat around because your body's acclimatising. So my tip is to pack a deck of cards or a game of Uno or a book, because you will need some form of entertainment whilst you're on the mountain. Tip number 4 is to make sure that you've done your training. That means scheduling in day hikes and closer to the time weekend hikes, and ideally a few long weekends as well. That also gives you a chance to test your gear, make sure that you're fit, and as well as breaking your boots in, you want to toughen your feet up so that they're used to the boots as well and avoiding blisters. Again, that helps to make sure that you're going to make it to the top successfully. Tip number 5 is look after the guides and porters. They'll be looking after you incredibly well whilst you're on the mountain, but there's 2 ways that you can help them as well. The first way you can do is to make sure that your agency or tour operator is KPAP approved, so do ask them that question. KPAP stands for Kilimanjaro Porters Association Project. They basically look after the welfare of the porters, they make sure that they've got the right gear, they make sure that they're not carrying too much weight. So make sure that your agency is KPAP approved, and the second way you can look after them is to make sure that you tip them. Tipping is pretty much obligatory, so do build that into the cost of your trip. The porters and guides rely on that to look after themselves and their families. Tip number 6 is to buy this book. It's called Mount Kilimanjaro by Henry Steadman, and it's published by Trailblazers. This is pretty much a one-stop shop as a how-to guide for climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. It gives you all sorts of information on different routes, different tour operators, when's the best time to go, and all that good information. If you'd like to hear more about Mount Kilimanjaro, we also have another video, so click on the link below and that'll take you to the website where you can find out more. There's also various adventure book recommendations and other hints and tips on the website if you'd like to check them out too.